Okay, so moving on. You may remember from episode 39 that I bashed the Chamber of Commerce for being absolute dickbags and corporate tools. As interested in the middle-class growth of this economy as I am in having bedbugs again. Well, I'm circling back, as promised, to intro you to this week's lowlife scum.
You low-life scum.
In recent history, the Chamber of Commerce has poured millions into influencing elections for their elite crop of 1% members. But despite this egregious pay-to-play uncovered lately, corruption is kind of an old game for the Chamber of corporatocracy. Corporatocracy. That's a lot. Indeed, their corruption dates back further to low-life scum Lewis Powell, a corporate lawyer and COC advisor who also served on the Supreme Court between 72 and 86. In 71, he jotted down a little memo, now known as the Powell Memo. This twisted turd of oligarchical shit is largely to thank for the legal precedent on which Citizens United was argued. It is also a loud call to use any means necessary to quell student and leftist uprising, as these threaten the economic stability of our nation. In fact, it's a loud call to quell any dissent of any kind through the use of propaganda and tightly controlled media. See, this is all live, on the fly. It is also a call to arms, on behalf of and by the largest corporations in the country. Using language you might find in a scene from Rudy, if Rudy was an evil, plutocratic, sociopathic, fucked-up fat cat, Powell wrote, "The time has come, indeed it is long overdue, for the wisdom, ingenuity, and resources of American business to be marshaled against those who would destroy it. What specifically should be done? The overriding first need is for businessmen to recognize that the ultimate issue may be survival. Survival of what we call the free enterprise system, and all that this means for the strength and prosperity of America and the freedom of our people." And here is where the Chamber of Commerce comes into play. But independent and uncoordinated activity by individual corporations, as important as this is, will not be sufficient. Strength lies in organization, in careful long-range planning and implementation, in consistency of action over an indefinite period of years, in the scale of financing available only through joint effort, and in the political power available only through united action and national organizations. The role of the National Chamber of Commerce is therefore vital. And as if this weren't enough, Powell then ties the Chamber's role into his issue with campus uprisings. The Chamber should consider establishing a staff of highly qualified scholars in the social sciences who do believe in the system. The staff of scholars should evaluate social science textbooks, especially in economics, political science, and sociology. This should be a continuing program. And holy fuck, it does not end there. The national television networks should be monitored in the same way that textbooks should be kept under constant surveillance. This applies not merely to so-called educational programs, but to the daily, quote-unquote, news analysis, which so often includes the most insidious type of criticism of the enterprise system. Radio and the press are also important, and every available means should be employed to challenge and refute unfair attacks, as well as to present the affirmative case through these media. Yeah, Orwell called. He wants his nightmare back. Powell goes on to suggest a much more intense mobilization in the political arena, and then, as if prophesying his steaming pile of toxic sludge legacy, laced with dead babies and endangered species, Powell aims directly at our Constitution. Under our constitutional system, especially with an activist-minded Supreme Court, the judiciary may be the most important instrument for social, economic, and political change. This is a vast area of opportunity for the Chamber if it is willing to undertake the role of spokesman for American business, and if, in turn, business is willing to provide the funds. And oh, were they willing, and oh, did they find the funds. Keep in mind, what I've shared with you here are but pieces of the memo. I strongly urge you to read the whole thing, with a vomit bag nearby, because you'll see almost point by point a modern-day outline of our system, the straight-up blueprint for everything from the dumbing down of our education system to mass surveillance to the buying of everybody in the political realm. Now, as with anything in history, it is impossible to tie our grossly unequal corporatocratic system to just one sick fuck's memo, but it is impossible to ignore these stark connections. It's impossible to ignore the influence of a man planted in both the Chamber of Commerce and the Supreme Court, to shift policy and shut down dissent. If history is connecting dots, holy shit, this is a minefield of dots. You see the path that brought us to Fortune 100 CEOs meeting with the president more than 1,000 times since 2009. The most frequent visitor being the CEO of military contractor company Honeywell. Sounds cute. They're the ones currently enjoying billions of dollars worth of contracts from the Pentagon. You see the path that brought us to the Supreme Court deciding on whether companies really are allowed to extort money from customers, really regardless of whether what they're doing is legal or not. You see the red thread through all of our issues that stem, again, not from just that memo, but from the ideologies couched within it. Powell is certainly not the first capitalist cunt to pen his plans for 1% domination, but he is among the more famous ones. And if you look at his political career and his ties to politicians currently running our system, it really isn't surprising that we're in the state of affairs that we're in. Now, I didn't share this as a huge downer. I share it with you for several reasons. First off, it happened. It's our history, and thanks to the man himself, you might not actually be learning much about it. Secondly, it shows the depth and breadth of systemic corruption that affects every aspect of our lives, every single issue. And therefore, here's the silver lining, because of this, all of our movements are necessary. From the fractivists to the feminists, they are necessary and they have to work together. I know that I've said this before, and I will say it again. We on the left like to crowbar each other out. Well, that's not really my type of feminism, or I think that only vegans can be true environmentalists. Stop it. The far-reaching socio-political destruction of the Powell paradigm demands that we have to work together. I know it's the holidays and you'll hear a lot of this peace on earth and love thy neighbor bullshit, but I mean this in all seriousness. I don't give a fuck what day it is or what season. Call it a New Year's resolution if it makes you feel better, but pick that issue, find your allies, and move forward together. Powell might be dead, but the Chamber of Commerce and people like Powell are alive and well, and they have armies of dipshits behind them. Organized, dedicated, and focused armies that look a lot like that, but with suits. If we have a chance at shifting this system, we have to be just as organized, dedicated, and focused. And that might sound like some Rudy shit as well, but god damn it, sometimes we all need a little pep talk. So get out there and fight. On the front lines, in the back streets, fight, 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 and keep fighting. There's plenty of low-life scum to go around.
You low-life scum.